guys, how's it going? So I'm out in the greenhouse today. I'm going to plant up a couple of new houseplant arrangements. Both of them are going to be fairly different. Like one of them is only going to utilize one plant, but I'm going to be using some natural elements out of the garden. And then the other one is a mixed container, like a mixed plants. I'm going to be using several different varieties in the same container. Thought you guys might enjoy seeing the process. And I'm hoping that you're seeing this video after we've had baby girl. That's how I'm hoping the schedule works out, because we're right at the end here. I'm actually sitting on a bar stool, so I thought that this would be like the perfect project to be out here. It's nice and cool, and it's kind of a beautiful day, even though it's gray outside. Okay, so the first container I'm going to be planting up is this one right here. So I'm filming this myself, so I hope it all turns out okay. But my parents got me this gorgeous pot for Christmas. It says Kew Royal Botanic Gardens on the side. There are 3 medallions, I think. There's the second, there's the third. Now, it was not a draining container when I got it. I have put a drain hole in the bottom. You can see that right in there. But I decided that I wanted to use it for plant material, whether it be for a cut flower arrangement or for house plants. And since the bottom is just raw clay, if I were to use this as a cut flower vessel, the condensation would still form. The water would still leak through the bottom. So I would have had to line the inside either way. So I decided that I would go ahead and pop a drain hole in the bottom using a diamond tile drill bit right here. Here's the package. Rigid brand 1/2-inch diamond tile drill bit. I'll show you a closer up picture of that. But it's really easy to do. All I did was I put a piece of burlap down on the ground just to soften, so I didn't scrape up the top lip. And then I tipped it upside down. I had a water can full of cold water. That's one of the most important parts, because when you put your drill bit to the ceramic here, it creates a lot of heat, and you don't want it to get too hot and crack. So you have to constantly pour cold water on it to keep the temperature down. And then when you engage your drill, you want to do it before it's on the pot, because if you set the diamond tile drill bit on the pot and then engage, it tends to want to skip across the surface. So if you kind of turn the drill on and come at it at an angle, and then kind of gradually put the drill upright, then it's really easy to use this in one hand. I have the watering can in the other, pouring water on, drilling the hole, and it happens really quickly and easily. And I've showed you that process in other videos before, but it's been a while. And you can use these diamond tile drill bits on ceramic, porcelain, granite, marble, stone, slate, and glass. So most anything that you're gonna want to plant in, you can use a diamond tile drill bit to make your drain hole. Then you have a lot happier plants. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily have to do it. I've done a lot of non-draining containers before, but it's just easier when they drain. Now I'm only utilizing one plant in this container, and it's this ivy right here, which is beautiful. It's getting a little bit wild though. I had this on our kitchen windowsill, and it was starting to reach down onto the counter, and I just thought, oh, I don't really want to trim it. It would be neat to do an arrangement where I could create some vertical interest, which I have some grapevines. I already went out to the garden. We have one grapevine in our backyard up against the back fence, and I cut some branches from that. And so we're going to create a little trellis for our ivy. But I'm just going to use our regular organic potting mix for this plant. And I'm going to fill the container now. Okay, we're going to create a well in the center. Oh, uh-oh, and a mess while we're at it. And then I'm going to pop the ivy out of its current container. Please come out easy. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. There we go. Perfect. It doesn't look to be root bound or anything like that. Pretty healthy looking root ball. So I'm just going to plant that right in the center and lightly tamp the soil in around that root ball. Okay, now I'm going to work on just spreading this ivy out a little bit so that we've got it kind of as even as we can. I expect it to look a little bit sparse today until the ivy has a chance to grow on a bit more in this larger container. Okay, let me attempt to pick this up and show you. So you can see it from the top right there. It's looking good so far. Okay, so now to create our trellis, we've got the grapevines right here, and they're kind of flexible. They're not as rigid as some of the other branches. You can use anything you want though. I thought it might be interesting to use these because they've got the little curly branches that come off. It won't be a perfect looking trellis in that it'll be completely even all the way around. So essentially what you do is you take your branch, you pop it in the container all the way down to the bottom. You could even work on like tamping some soil in around it so it's nice and firm in there. And then you'll want to, if it's got a natural curvature, make sure it goes toward the center, because in the end I'm going to want to gather all the branches together and lash them together at the top. So let me get this right here. So basically what I'll do is I'm going to cut these branches, put them all the way around, and then I've got some twine here that I will take and tie around the top. So let me get that part done really quick. This part can be a little bit fiddly, so don't worry if you try this, if it takes you a little while to get it just right. Plus all these branches are all stuck together. A treat. I mean, it would be easier just to go buy a trellis, right? But it's kind of fun to do something free as well. And a little bit more natural looking. A lot a bit more natural looking. I think it's starting to rain. Oh, beautiful. Oh, I think that that's gonna look really pretty. Okay, so once you have your branches in, which I used 5 altogether, I'm not sure the diameter of this pot, but it looks about 12 inches, maybe a tiny bit bigger than that. But 5 seems to be really perfect. And I think the color of the grapevines looks so good with the pot and the contrasting with this green, like kind of minty green leaf. I really like it. So I've got it gathered together with just my hand right here, and then I've got my piece of twine. So we're just going to take the twine and just wrap it around several times and tie it off. Okay, I want to give you a closer up look real quick. First of all, I love the ivy in here. Doesn't that look perfect? I mean, you wouldn't even need to have it grow upward, although I do think it's going to be really pretty. So you can see the 5 branches in there, and then right where it's lashed together, a little bit of twine. And I'm going to have to do a little trimming. So I'm going to trim these branches off right in here somewhere. And I still have a few branches left that I can work into the base along with the other natural materials if I want to in the end, or I could wrap them around. I might try that. But the whole goal is to be able to wrap the ivy around. So we're well on our way. I don't know if these are pliable enough to go around. We'll see. That looks neat, doesn't it? I need another pliable one. Okay, so I think I've got the trellis set how I want it to be, and it looks a little bit wild and imperfect, which is kind of awesome. I really like that look sometimes, just to have it look like nature a little bit. And it's gonna all be covered up anyway by the ivy. The rain is starting to pick up a little bit now. But we've got several tendrils coming down that I'm going to curl up around our trellis here. And the wonderful thing about these grapevines is there are a lot of places for this ivy to grab onto. Okay, so the top part is done, and there's a lot of bushier growth down here at the bottom, which is nice, and I'd eventually like this whole thing to be covered with ivy and then have some spilling out the sides too. But until that happens, I think we'll fill in with some natural elements, so like the sedum, the Rosa Sharon, and then the pine cone. So I'll get a closer up vision, or a closer up view rather, of that. Look at it out there. Gorgeous. There's really nothing like being in a greenhouse when it's raining. It makes it extra beautiful, the sound. So that one is done. Didn't that turn out really fun? And the natural elements that I used aren't so thick that they're going to keep away, you know, light and air from the ivy. Ivy is pretty forgiving in that it likes a lot of shade and it likes moist soil, but I think it was just really fun to incorporate some of those things out of the garden. Just makes it a little bit more interesting until the ivy fills in. And I love the trellis. Love that so much. I'll try to get a better shot of it. It's really hard to show in here with all the activity going on in the background. Okay, so now I want to plant this square container. This is the one the ivy came out of. And I'm going to be using several different things. So there's a begonia here, a Rex begonia. Beautiful leaf color. And then there are 2 Phoetonias. So this one is called Frankie, and this one is called Superba. And then we've got baby tears right here. And I'm just trying to create kind of a lower, mounded, interesting looking houseplant arrangement for kind of a medium light situation. So let me get that potted up, and I'm just going to kind of go quickly because it's starting to get chilly in here. These plants are not going to love me for it. It's not too loud out here with the rain. It seems really loud to me, but let's take a look at this arrangement. I think it's really pretty. So first of all, we have kind of this clean, modern look for a container. Gray, I think it's ceramic. It's some kind of a ceramic or stone or something like that. And the garden center happened to have a saucer, a square saucer, that fits it perfectly. And it can be hard when you get odd-shaped pots. You know, well, I mean, anything that's not round. It's harder to find saucers that match, so I was really happy about that. And then I've got a couple of the baby tears right here coming out the front, which I think is so beautiful. And then the Rex begonia kind of tucked in between. The 2 Phoetonias, and then if we look around the back side, there's another baby tears. Now, I didn't worry about getting it so packed full in the back here. We'll just let the baby tears take over and fill in right there. This is going to be kind of the back side anyway, where I'm displaying it. You won't really see it quite as much. And what I'll do is all the baby tears grow, I will probably like encourage it and train it to grow over, you know, over here a little bit so it covers this side, and same on the other side. Ooh, I need to clean out the saucer before I take it in. So these should all cohabitate very nicely, even the begonia. The Phoetonia and baby tears are typically very water hungry plants. They don't like to dry out all the way, but I have found that my Rex begonias do better if I don't let them get bone dry. And you would think most begonias don't like a ton of water, but if I don't give them, and maybe it's our lack of humidity here, if I don't give them plenty of water, they just crisp up and their leaves get brown and they quickly die. And given the fact that all of the plants surrounding them like a lot of water, they'll utilize a lot of it so that this one won't be sitting in excess by any stretch of the imagination. These will suck it all up. So that's it, you guys. Those are the 2 houseplant arrangements for the day. I cannot wait to see more ivy spilling out the side. That's the only thing I'm really kind of missing in this one, is that I want some kind of trailing element, because I almost view this as more of like a cut arrangement than anything else. And then this one definitely looks just bright and fresh and almost springish. So that is it for these arrangements. And like I said, I did think that they would turn out really different and unique, and I think they did. They both have a very different vibe to them. I mean, one very natural, one a lot more bright, and both just really pretty. I'm really happy with them. And this was kind of my last effort before baby girl gets here to bring some freshness into other areas of our house. I mean, for a little while, because I probably won't want to be out here in the greenhouse potting up houseplants for the next few weeks. We'll see. But I at least hope it gave you guys some ideas. I just thought, you know, seeing a container be turned into a planter, you know, seeing how to drill that hole out, it's always good just to be reminded that you can do that. So when you're out, you know, at antique stores or you're at thrift shops and you see something really neat, but it doesn't have a drain hole, you can always put a drain hole in it. And then you don't have to go out and spend a bunch of money on a trellis or a fancy obelisk or something like that to put in a container. You can make one out of branches and twine super easily. And it doesn't have to be grapevines. It can be whatever kind of branch you have access to. And then of course this one's super simple. I mean, just picking up a few fresh houseplants, putting them together, just making sure that the light and water needs are compatible with one another. So anyway, that is going to wrap it up for today. I'm going to take these inside. I'll try to get some pictures of where they went. I have an idea, like I kind of had some spots in mind, but I always want to try them out, and sometimes I end up moving them to somewhere completely different. So I'll try to get some shots of where they end up going. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you're having a great day, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.